Welcome to the Common Patriot. I'm glad you're here. Today's video, we're going to be going over the Ruger Max 9 concealed carry pistol. The Ruger Max 9 is kind of in the category of the Smith & Wesson Shield, the Springfield Hellcat, or the Sig P365. And it's kind of the micro-sized 9mm handgun, great for concealing. Just last week I was up at Reed's in Walker, Minnesota, and they had just gotten the Max 9 in, so I was like, hey, I'm going to pick one up and show you guys a little bit about this new firearm. The Ruger Max 9 has a steel slide and a glass-filled nylon grip. The pistol is 6 inches long, 4.52 inches high, and just under an inch at 0.95 inches wide. Obviously 9mm caliber. 10+1 is the model that I have. They also have a 12+1 configuration. You'll notice that this gun has an external safety as well as a trigger safety. They do have a model that doesn't have the external safety. One of the other nice features is this does have a shell indicator for the chamber, so you can visually see that there's one in the chamber externally without racking the slide. One of the other features that it does have is the magazine release can be switched over for left-handed shooters to be on the right side of the handgun. I'm right-handed, so I obviously didn't do that. The barrel is 3.2 inches long. Now the sights, the front sight is a tritium night sight, so that's pretty awesome. And the back sights is just a standard sight, but it is adjustable for windage. Now you will see that on the slide is cut so that you can mount a red dot on it, and if you're the type of person that wants to do that on your carry gun, well, it's already set up and ready to do that. The marketing material says that it's got a good smooth trigger. Okay, let's try it out. So dry firing the pistol a couple times, just pulling that trigger, I would say that it's got a mushy front half of the trigger. But when it comes to the sear on the trigger, it does come through fairly clean. But I'm not going to make my judgment just on that. I'm going to do a little shooting with it first to see what I actually think of it. Before we get out and actually shoot it, I'm going to test what the trigger pull weight on this trigger is. 6.2, and that one was 5 pounds 14 ounces. So right in that 6 pound range for the trigger. That's kind of about what I thought when I was just dry firing it here. Now to field strip the pistol, it's not difficult, but it's not something you can do with just your hands. And if I was to say something when I broke this down, cleaned it before I brought it out to the range, that's one thing that I guess I didn't really like about this pistol. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to drop the mag. Then we got to rack the slide. Now we take this tab, we push it down. We let the slide come forward. Safe direction. I'm going to drop the striker. At that point, I need a small tool to get in that little spot right there to push a pin out. So we do have to take the slide, push it back just a little bit, and then that pin comes out. Pin comes out relatively easy. Whoa. Set that aside. At that point, the gun comes apart. You're able to clean it, do whatever you need to. Putting it together, just put the slide back on. I'm going to take that pin. Again, we have to bring the slide back just a little bit. There we go. Drop that pin in. Sets in pretty easy. Then we're going to push up on the tab. Rack the slide. Put a mag in, we're ready to rock and roll. All right, that's plenty of talking about the features and ins and outs of the Ruger Max 9. Let's start shooting some. Here we go. Here's the first shots with the Ruger Max 9. I like it. I like it. Whoops. I've already shot it two-handed. Let's try it one-handed or on my strong hand. Okay. How about weak side? There we go. How about gangster? Okay, that worked fine. How about upside down? And that was the last shot. Now I'm going to try and see if I can intentionally limp wrist this to see if I can cause a malfunction. So I'm going to kind of hold it loose. Obviously I can't hold it too loose, but it's hard to hit the target when you're not holding the gun firm. Okay, I was holding that gun as loose as I could without having it maybe possibly jump out of my hand, and no misfires. Now I'm shooting at targets that are relatively close, probably about 10 yards. Let's move back to 20 yards. Okay, when I did my part, that was actually hitting the steel right in the center at 20 yards. See how it feels in the hand with that smaller magazine. Okay, I like that. A lot of times I have a hard time getting handguns to go down with the slide release. I've got short thumbs. It's actually hard for me to engage that slide release, so a lot of times I use the pull method. But this one goes down pretty nice. The safety is something else that I also want to say is a lot of handguns, these safeties are a little bit difficult to engage and disengage, and this one is very easy for me to go off and on. Like I said, I have a little bit of maybe a handicap. I've got short tendons in my thumbs. That's as far as my thumb extends. So manipulating safeties, especially on handguns and ARs, is a little bit more challenging for me, but there's ways around that. All right, so we've got the carry magazine in here. Let's see if that makes any difference as far as the ease of shooting this gun. Obviously, it is a little bit more comfortable to have the extended portion on the bottom of the magazine, but ultimately, not a real problem shooting that. Threat! 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 Empty! Ah! I'm out of magazines! Well, if that happens in real life, you're down to using it as a club. Back! 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 Stop! I have a gun! So I've got 5 Federal FMJ rounds, 115 grade loaded up in here. I'm going to shoot to see what kind of a group I get at 10 yards, and then I'm going to switch to my Federal HST carry ammo that I actually carry in my sidearm. Before we go check it out, I'm going to load up the Federal HST and shoot my 5 rounds at the bottom square there. So I was at 10 yards. Those 4 aren't too bad, you know, a little bit low, but the group itself is just over an inch. Well, let's say it's 2 inches. And then we had a little flyer here, probably my fault. So this is the Federal 115 grain full metal jacket. And then this is my carry ammo with a Federal HST round, and that's 147 grains. Again, I got 4 shots that, pretty good, and then 1 that's a little bit off. But ultimately, you know, that's a standing offhanded shot, 10 yards with a micro 9mm, and I'm going to say it shoots pretty decent. A little bit off on impact. It was low with both rounds at 10 yards. At 20 yards, when I shot the steel earlier in the video, I just held on and was hitting pretty much center. So I'm not going to worry too much about that if it's just a little bit low. In the distances that we are engaging targets if we were to use our gun in a self-defense way. If it's a 1/2 inch low, it's probably not going to matter. I'm going to use my shooting bench right here to see how the gun functions when I'm leaning over, say, around a barrier. But I'm just going to have some fun and see how this gun functions from, say, kneeling, maybe laying, and shooting around a barrier like this. My form fell apart. That's why it's a real good idea to practice from some of these unusual positions, because anytime you're leaning or doing anything outside of what you're used to, it's very easy to have your wrist break and not do all of the things you need to do to shoot a pistol accurately. So here's my thoughts on the Ruger Max 9 pistol. Ultimately, I had 0 malfunctions. Whether I shot it upside down or sideways or limp wristed it, the gun functioned just fine. I did not put 1,000 rounds through it. I'm not going to tell you I did. But the rounds that I did put into it, and this gun is directly from, out of the box, outside of, I did clean it beforehand. You should always clean your gun before you take it out to the range the first time. The features on it, the safety is one of the things. If you're going to run a safety, it is a very simple safety to engage and disengage. The magazines do fall out of the gun fairly easily. No problems there. The trigger's probably right in there where the price point of the gun is. I would say that's probably one of the drawbacks of the gun. The trigger could be a little bit smoother, a little bit crisper. If you're going to shoot targets with this gun, you would definitely want a different trigger. But for self-defensive purposes, I think the trigger works just fine. Now, I already mentioned a little bit earlier, but breaking the gun down. I don't like that I need to have a punch or a small tool to break the gun down, but that's something I can live with. It's not like I'm probably going to break this gun down in the field where that really is an issue. So in a personal defense gun. Another thing I like the 10 round plus 1 capacity, and they do have a 12 plus 1 capacity model as well. It's just nice to know you have a few extra rounds in there, especially if you're not already carrying a spare mag. Granted, most defensive style shootings don't really need mag reloads, but it never hurts to be prepared, that's for sure. The sights, I found the sights very easy. Obviously, I'm shooting out here in broad daylight. There isn't hardly a cloud in the sky, so visibility was not an issue. I would like to shoot this at night and try out the night sights on it, at least the front tritium sight that is on this gun. Overall, I think that the Ruger Max 9 performed about how I thought it would. It comes in at approximately $500 MSRP. One thing I failed to mention earlier is it does have a fairly mild or medium texture on your grip. If you're the person that likes a lot of texture in the grip of your handgun, this doesn't have it. However, I found it to be comfortable out here and not tear your hands up. No problems racking the slide. Goes back pretty easy. That's not something that I usually have a problem with. So would I recommend this gun? Yeah, I would. If you're in the market for a concealed carry pistol in a small frame with reasonable magazine capacity at a reasonable price, I would check out the Ruger Max 9. It's worked really great for me, and I look forward to shooting it even more throughout the summer. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're not already a Common Patriot subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any guns that you'd like to see reviews in, put it in the comments below, and just maybe I'll review that gun. So remember, you're a Common Patriot, so be bold, be strong, and don't ever give up. God bless. We'll see you next time.